Welcome to episode 3 of #AskATC, where you can go on our Facebook page or our Twitter page. Both of them are facebook.com, twitter.com/ATC Midwest, and pose a question and we'll do the best we can to answer it for you. Just make sure you start it with #AskATC and then post your question. So without further ado, let's get into episode 3 and see what the question is. So what a great question from Beck Tuesley. #AskATC on our Facebook page. What's your top 5 personal and professional leadership development motivational books that you would recommend are essential to read? Big question because there's so many great books out there. But first and foremost, what I want to make sure everyone understands is that I truly believe that leaders are readers. So the concept of the question is phenomenal because it shows me, Beck, that you are a leader, because leaders are readers. The sheer fact that you're seeking to find books to read, to absorb information, to challenge your thinking, to expand your thinking is outstanding. You know, and there's been studies that have been done where the top performing CEOs in the world, the ones who are the highest paid, actually read approximately on average 60 books a year. See, that's over a book a week, compared to much lower paid counterparts who only read maybe 1 book a year. So, you know, once again, leaders are readers. And in today's technology, of course, I don't read as many books these days, but what I do is I listen to a lot of books. So I use Audible through Amazon, and I download a bunch of audiobooks that I listen to when I'm going for my bike ride or go for a walk, or I'm driving in the car. I play the audiobook. So if you're not into reading per se, I would encourage you to then get Audible or something similar, and certainly get that. There's also other opportunities to get book summaries you can get, which are just shortened versions of books, to once again to maximize your time. But to get into your question, what are my top 5 personal and professional leadership development motivational books that I recommend as essential to read? Everyone would have their own list, but you asked us, so I'll share with you what mine are. Number 1, without fail, and I've had this book since it came out in 2003. I've had it, I've given it to other people, I've bought another copy of it, and I've given that away, because that's what I tend to do with books. I read them, I highlight them, make notes of them, take action on what I've learned, and then I pass it on to someone else so that they can learn, and then I go and get myself another copy if I want to reread it again. So number 1 with a bullet has always been Tom Peters' Reimagine. You know, if I look at this, was written in 2003, and it is more relevant today than it has ever been. When we look at, especially here in the Midwest, the new normal economy that we're in, being disruptive in your industry, in our market, in the way you run your business, I would challenge everyone to be disruptive. We need to find new ways to do things. It's okay to do what you're doing and do it better, but right now we might need to find ways of doing things different. And Tom Peters challenges your thinking, and some of the stuff he wrote in 2003, a lot of it has actually come true today. And so I would highly recommend this if you're a leader, to start thinking about the market that you're in, the type of business you're in, and how you can disrupt it, or if you want to get into a business, how the best way to do it. Awesome book. Number 2 on my list is Love Marks, another book that I have with me normally everywhere I go. I don't have it with me today, but Love Marks here was written by Kevin Roberts, who is the big dog at Saatchi & Saatchi, one of the largest branding and marketing companies in the world. This book actually I've given it to someone else. Once again, like I said, I passed them on so that someone else has the book at the moment. But you know, the gist of this is how to build your business beyond a brand. You know, you look at all those things like the Nikes, the Harleys, the Apple, you name it, Zappos, all these businesses or brands that we use, you know, sometimes without even rational thought. We're just so emotionally connected to them. That's what this book is about, how to build your organization to that state, or that sense of that emotional connection with your consumers. And really, the ultimate way I describe it is how to build mystery, intimacy, and sensuality, get all the senses involved, how to be intimate, how to create that guided transformation so your customers feel that your business only exists just for them purely, and then mystery, and how to keep it intriguing so they never know what's coming next, so it's very exciting. Phenomenal book for that. So once again, from a professional point of view, highly recommend that book. And once again, that was written many, many years ago. Another book that was written many, many years ago, which was only introduced to me just probably in the last 12 months, which has been somewhat eye-opening for me, and it's more personal development. And my number 3 on my list is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, or Coelho. Don't know how to pronounce his name, but anyway, awesome book. Personal journey about finding out what's really important to you in life, And it's a journey of loss and gain, and really finding out what's really important. So from a professional point of view, there's some great learning in there as well, but personal journey-wise, as a personal leadership, one of the best books I've ever read, and written in a story, so it was really great. My number 4 book would have to be, without a doubt, Dr. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is here. Another classic written many, many years ago, but the 7 fundamental habits that you need to have to be successful in life. Outstanding book, and certainly a great book from a productivity point of view and getting to understand people and leadership. So it has a combination of personal and professional components to it. So I would highly recommend that. And my number 5 book, personally for myself, is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Now, when I first saw this book and it was handed to me, it's like, if you got no mates, this is the book for you. But I assure you it's not. It has many, many stories throughout history of different leaders and how they sought to understand others. And from a leadership point of view, you lead people. So understanding human beings and human behavior is critical to that. So How to Win Friends and Influence People was a phenomenal book written way, way, way back when, which really highlights to me there's not a lot of new things. It's just different spins on things, or different interpretations from different people's perspective, but a phenomenal book nonetheless. And one of those, once again, to me, that has had a lasting impact. So they're my top 5. I did highlight a couple other books here that I wanted to quickly share, because there are so many great books out there. One that has been presented to me recently, which I've gone and attended a few events with this young man, Jack DeLosa. Phenomenal book. If you're looking to start a business or take your existing business anywhere from a scalable to a saleable business, this is a step-by-step guide. Fantastic. Jack's done a lot of work with the Richard Branson Center for Entrepreneurialism. He has his own thing called the Entourage. He's like top 30 under 30. Young fella knows his stuff. Fantastic university dropout who just decided to start his own business and helping other people to do the same. Fantastic read, very practical, hands-on book as well. So recommend that. A couple of the other ones I have up there. You can never go wrong with the John Maxwell book. One of his finest is certainly the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Highly recommend that. It's a great book to go through one law at a time over a period of 21 weeks, and you'll become an outstanding leader in your own right if you just did that. We've already talked about How to Win Friends, 7 Habits. Another great book out there is Good to Great, written by Jim Collins, another book I've read. Interesting, you look at why some companies make the leap to greatness and some don't. And there's another book co-authored by Jim as well called Built to Last. Really interesting. It does talk about some organizations that have been through some challenges now since the book had been written. But still, nonetheless, I think it's important to take a look at those sort of if you want to build an organization, you can certainly learn from those lessons and see the realities of what's happening today as well to some of those companies. So another great read. One of the most recent ones to come out is certainly Start With Why by Simon Sinek, who's, I guess, one of the up-and-coming leadership gurus. He's created this golden circle where it all starts with why. And for anybody who's worked with ATC or done any work with myself in Sense through ATC, I'm a big proponent of always start with why. People buy the why, then how, then what, and that's Simon's golden circle. He talks exactly to that same concept, which was fantastic. So it's all about purpose, and no different for us here at ATC. Why we do what we do is to engage, inspire, and develop tomorrow's leading workforce today. So everything we do starts with why, then how we do it. By being the leading workforce solutions provider, then what we do is offer apprenticeships, traineeships, recruitment, labor hire, and all that. All our marketing, all our everything we do, it flows through that. And Simon's book talks a lot to that, so it's a great book for that. Another book I love, it's once again more of a story or a fable, is Who Moved My Cheese? If you haven't read that, fantastic one, an amazing way to deal with change in your work and in your life. So if your organization, of course, being disrupted because you've read Tom Peters' book and you're going to disrupt your organization, then your people are going to need to know how to handle change. You're going to need to know how people respond to change. Great book for it. So certainly up there, a bunch of great books. Hopefully, Beck, that's giving you some insights to those. You can obviously Google, top 10 leadership books and things like that. But my top 5, Reimagine, Love Marx, The Alchemist, 7 Habits, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So many great books out there. Hey, why don't you just write your own about your journey and where you're going and where you've come from and how you see the world. Other than that, the last thing I like to tell people about reading books or listening to books is there are so many great books out there, and you can get information overload if you listen, read this book, then this book, then this book, then this book, then this book, which is great to get conflicting opinions and stuff. But what I say to people is find a book that you love and read it 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 till you start to internalize it and then process it. Knowledge is worth 2 knobs of goat poo if you cannot apply it. Wisdom is knowledge in action. So when you can take the information you get from these great books and you can internalize it, then put it into action, that is powerful. Because I assure you, nobody has lost 20 pounds, or what's that in kilos, would be about 9 kilos, from reading a book on weight loss. So without taking action on those things and internalizing it through spaced repetition, you will not retain the information to take the action, to shift the thinking that will drive you to take the action, to make the changes, and then your learning has been for nothing. So find something you really love, read the crap out of it, and then apply it, read it again, apply it, read it, apply it, until you've internalized and made something from it. Otherwise, you're just going to read a book on weight loss and still sit there eating a donut. So hopefully, Beck, that's answered your question. What are the top 5 personal and professional development motivational books you would recommend that are essential to read? And I've thrown a little bit extra in the sense of essentialness of how to read a book and how to take advantage of a book and some modern technologies in absorbing that information in. Thank you again for using #AskATC. Tell us what your favorite books are. And in the comments below, please list what books you think are really great to read and why, and let's just share it and let's keep the dialogue going. But until next time, thanks very much for tuning in to #AskATC.